On June 7th, 1992, three women vanished from Springfield, Missouri. Cheryl Levitt, her 19-year-old daughter Susie Streeter, and Susie's 18-year-old friend Stacy McCall disappeared without a trace. There were no signs of forced entry, no obvious struggle, no screams reported by neighbors, just a quiet home and three people who were suddenly gone. To this day, what happened inside that house remains unknown. This is the story of the Springfield Three. To understand the impact of this case, it's important to understand who these women were and why their disappearance shocked an entire community. Let's start with Cheryl Levitt. Cheryl Levitt was 47 years old. She was a devoted mother, a respected school teacher, and someone deeply involved in her local community. Friends described her as responsible, caring, and grounded. The kind of person who kept a routine and looked out for others. Her daughter, Susie Streeter, was 19. She had recently graduated high school and was preparing to attend college. Susie was described as ambitious and energetic, with a wide circle of friends. She was close with her mother and excited about the next chapter of her life. Stacy McCall was 18 years old and one of Susie's closest friends. She had also just graduated high school. Stacy was outgoing, well-liked, and known for her warm personality. The two girls were inseparable, especially during the summer following graduation. All three women had strong ties to their families and community. None of them had any reason to disappear voluntarily, which is what made what happened next so disturbing. On the night of June 6, 1992, Susie Streeter and Stacy McCall attended graduation celebrations with friends. The plan had originally been for the girls to stay overnight at a friend's house, but that changed to late in the evening. Instead, they returned to Cheryl Levitt's home on Easter Del Mar Street. Sometime after midnight, the three women were together inside the house. That would be the last confirmed moment of any of them ever seen alive. The following morning, friends began trying to reach Susie and Stacy. Phone calls went unanswered. Eventually, someone went to check on the house. And what they found was unsettling. The cars were parked normally outside, the doors were locked, there were no signs of forced entry. Personal belongings, including purses, were still inside. Even a family dog was calm and unharmed. It was as if the women had just simply vanished. Police were called, and a search began almost immediately. But as hours turned into days, investigators realized how unusual the scene was. There was no physical evidence pointing to what had happened. No blood, no struggle, no clear crime scene. Just absence. Law enforcement launched an extensive investigation, interviewing neighbors, friends, and anyone who had contact with the women in the days leading up to their disappearance. Police examined known offenders in the area and reviewed reports of suspicious activity. Several individuals were considered persons of interest over the years, including men with violent criminal histories. Yet, every single lead seemed to end the same way, without enough evidence to make an arrest. One of the biggest challenges investigators faced was the lack of forensic evidence. The house had been entered by friends before police arrived, unintentionally contaminating the scene. critical details may have been lost in those early hours. As one forensic analysis later noted, cases like this are among the most difficult to solve because investigators are left relying on circumstantial clues rather than physical proof. Despite years of effort, the investigation stalled. Over time, several theories emerged to explain what might have happened to the Springfield Three. One theory suggests a targeted abduction, that someone familiar with the women knew how to enter the home quietly and control the situation without violence. Another theory proposes random foul play, an opportunistic crime carried out by someone passing through the area. Some have speculated about personal motives, including revenge or family-related disputes, though no evidence has ever supported these ideas. Investigators also compared the case to other disappearances in Missouri during the early 1990s, searching for patterns or similarities. But no definitive connection was ever established. Each theory raises more questions than answers. How were 3 people taken without resistance? Why was nothing stolen? And why has no trace of them ever been found? The disappearance of Cheryl Livette, Susie Streeter, and Stacy McCall left a lasting scar on Springfield. The case received national media attention, spawning documentaries, books, and countless true crime discussions. For years, residents remained vigilant, hoping for answers that never came. Even decades later, interest in the crime remained strong. Podcasts, forums, and investigators continue to examine old evidence, convinced that the truth is still out there. But time has not been kind to this mystery.